Hello everyone, and welcome back to my toy box for Peter Pan's Flight. Last time, I finished building the Neverland portion of this toy box, and today I'm going to build the children's bedroom in the Darling house. This is the starting point for my ride, and once that's done, we'll be finished with the build exercise for this toy box. Here's a photo of the loading area from the Peter Pan ride at Disneyland in California. Visitors board a ship that looks like the flying ship at the end of the Peter Pan movie. The ship then flies through a window into the Darling house where they begin their journey. I decided that for my ride, we would begin in the Darling house itself, and I captured a number of screenshots from the movie to try to determine the floor plan for the children's bedroom. And as I studied these screenshots again, I realized I made a mistake in the layout, so I'm going to change what I'm going to build. It'll look a little different than the playthrough video. Here's a screenshot of one corner of the room. John and Michael's beds are here. Wendy walks past their beds to this opening, which probably leads to the bathroom. This opening is along the same wall as Michael's bed, and I'll show you that in a moment. Here's where the father enters the bedroom, and this is where I'm going to put my toy box door. The bed to the left is Wendy's bed. I thought at first it was Michael's, but then I noticed the canopy in the upper left corner. That's Wendy's bed, and here's a picture of that. There's a rug by the bed, and you can see some pictures on the wall behind Wendy. Now when Wendy's dad enters the room, he turns to his left, our right, and he goes past the boys' beds to the same opening that Wendy went to. And so this tells us where that opening is in the room. You can see Michael's bed there on the left. When Mom enters the room, she goes straight across the room to the window. And I believe this window is directly opposite the door. And this scene supports that. When Wendy sees Peter, she gets up and moves toward the window. Remember, the door is off screen to the right. Notice which way she's going and where the light is coming from. The light is coming from the open window, and it casts Wendy's shadow behind her. Here's a shot of the corner of the room next to the window. There's a chair on the wall and tables and chairs in that corner. Pan is sitting on one of the table chairs, and there's also another rug in front of the window. Now, from my analysis of the screenshots, I came up with this floor plan for the bedroom. The beds are labeled with the name of each child, and the smaller boxes are dressers. The round shape in the lower left is the table. So this is what I'm going to try to build in my toy box, and I'm going to use some interior toys for this, and I'm not going to be able to get this exact because I just can't do that in the toy box, but I'm going to try to get as close as I can. Now, as much as I would love for the player to leave through the window, the interior toy for the window does not open. It's just a decoration, and so I chose to leave out the entire wall along the bottom. But I still want the window because it's such an iconic fixture in the room, so I'm going to place the window along the left wall. Also, I'm going to leave out the dressers because, as you're going to see, I can't place those exactly where I want, and I don't have room for them or the table and chairs anyway. So the first thing we're going to do as we build, we're going to come out to this corner of the toy box out here. And we're going to place down this piece of terrain. And we're going to put 3 of them down. And this is basically telling us where we're going to place the room. Okay? Let me pull up my screen grab here to make sure I get this right. All right. And we're going to grab this little piece and come over here off the end of this. And we're going to put this down just like this. All right, and we're going to put 7 of these down. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there we go, 7. And the floor for the kid's bedroom is going to sit right on top of that. So that's where I placed it. Okay? And then you can come and take all of these spacer blocks out. Is the exact placement of that important? No. But I know some of you, again, like to duplicate what I've got precisely. And that puts it in a good position up here. Now the kids are going to fly out of the window, out over this way. And I kind of like it going this way because you can see the Sky Dome, and it's just the Sky Dome. So it really feels like you're up flying over London. And then we're going to bring them around this way in a couple episodes. And they approach Neverland from the same direction as the picture up there in the sky. And so I just like the look of that a lot. I think that makes a lot of sense. And it fits really well. Alright, so for this block, let's go ahead and style it. And I'm going to style this using the Nicelanders home. This is from Wreck-It Ralph. I'll set that to be my theme. All the blocks I'm going to put down here are going to use this theme. And unfortunately, I don't have any wall textures here for the terrain that look anything like the wallpaper in the kids' bedroom. And so we're going to have to kind of use this brick instead. And on the inside of the wall, it's a little darker, so it doesn't look too bad, I guess, considering that's really our best option. And let's make sure we get this layout right. Yeah, so we're going to place a wall here on either side, like that. And then we're going to kind of enclose this in just a little bit, or give the idea of it being enclosed by doing that. And I don't really want the bedroom to be that tall, and so rather than set the ceiling on top, we're going to kind of inset it like this. So really the room inside is only 2 blocks high. Okay, so there is our room. It's pretty simple build. Now, in order to put the interior toys in, we're going to need to move these pieces out away from the wall a little bit. So we're going to do that. I'm just going to slide these out just to make sure that when we bring the interior toys out, they're not going to run into anything. So we'll pull those out like that. Okay? And because we have this green grass texture here, that's not going to work for the bedroom. And so we're going to come up to the blocks drawer and put in a large floor piece here. Actually 4 of them, but let's style this first. And we want to use a wooden floor texture. And I think if we come over to the right, over near the water texture, there's a good floor texture we can use. It's this plank texture. I'm going to set that to be my theme for my blocks. And we'll put down 4 of these. That'll give us a much nicer looking floor that looks more like a room. Alright, so there is our bedroom. And we could actually take these pieces out for right now, just so we can see what we're doing. Okay, next thing we will do is put in our toy box door. And that is up under Gameplay Toys. We're going to fit this in here, right up against where the wall will eventually go. And yeah, we'll leave that there like that for right now. Okay, just making sure there isn't anything more I need to do. Okay, so yeah, we're ready for this. Alright, so we're going to open up the properties. Under Destination, we're going to link to an existing toy box. And we already have an interior toy box. It's the Haunted Mansion. So we're going to link to that. We'll use that toy box to bring the interior toys out. And we're going to make sure we leave destination locator tag set to none, because we want to go into the original spot, entry spot in the toy box, the one that's now sealed off from the rest of that interior. All right. And there we go. And at this point, let's go ahead and bring the starting pad up here into this room, because we now have our permanent home for that. Do. Takes a little while to bring this out. Okay, we're going to put this right in the middle, like that. And if we come back up over here, you'll see, I'll show you exactly where that is. That is right in the center of the floor block. So you have the floor blocks right there, like that. Okay? So that's where we are. At this point, we are ready to bring the interior toys out. So, before we do that though, let's go ahead and save our game. And I had loaded up Disneyland Build 1. Again, I keep two backups that I alternate between. This is the one I loaded. So I'm going to save to Disneyland Build 2. And we'll save that one. So that way, if I screw this up, I can go back to the original one I started with, Disneyland Build, and pick up from there. And this takes a moment. Doo-dee-doo-dee-doo-dee-doo. So how you guys doing with the build? Are you following along with this? Are you enjoying it? I hope so. You have to leave a comment and let me know. I haven't been getting too many comments lately, and just want to make sure you guys are still with me. Oh my goodness, this takes a while. I probably could have fast-forwarded past this, but I've had some questions lately about saving toy boxes, so I figured maybe I shouldn't skip it all the time. I should do this once in a while so you guys can see exactly what I'm doing. There we go. Okay, so now that the toy box is saved and we've saved our progress in here, I want to go through this door, and I will fast forward at this point, and I'll meet you there in just a moment. Okay, here we are in the Haunted Mansion, and you'll notice this is not the foyer. This is the room where we put all our Creativa toys, and it's the room that's now cut off from the rest of the mansion because we had deleted the little connecting corridor that was behind that door. And we already have our logic set up over here to invoke this time delayer. So did that in an earlier video, so we don't have to do that again. The logic for our interior trick here is already done. But we do have to make sure the toy box door is set up properly. So on the toy box door, because we want to go back not to wherever this led originally, which was Tomorrowland, we want to go back to Peter Pan's flight. So we're going to link an existing toy box. We're going to change this to link to Peter Pan's flight. That's where we need to go back to. And we'll leave the other two properties the way they are. And once again, it's the button that's there on the right that we're going to press that invokes the time delayer. All right, so we'll come out of Spark mode, and we're going to go find some of those toys that we need. So we know we have some wall hangings, and I don't know if it'll remember this or not, but we're going to find some of those pictures that were in the Darling house, because they do have those. There's so much in these drawers, it takes a while to find everything. Darling Nursery Pictures. So we could use any of these. And I think I used that one. And then we need the beds, seating and beds. So if we go to the left, we're going to find Wendy's bed, John's bed, and Michael's bed. Those are the three pieces we need there. And then under Windows, we're going to need the iconic window, the Darling Nursery window. Those are the pieces we're going to need. All right, so we've got what we need now. We're going to come out of the editor long enough to push the button, and then we'll open the editor back up. And let it load, and I'll fast forward and meet you there in just a moment. Okay, so here we are back in our Peter Pan's Flight toy box, and when we open the editor, here's the interior toys. Alright, so Wendy's bed goes over here. We want to make sure we have room for this. I think if we go, we could probably go right up against the wall. We'll give that a try. Can't go too far that way, but I think we can go right there. John's bed goes over here. So I'm going to place this here like that. Actually a little closer to that door. And Michael's bed goes here like that. And I don't think we can place this here because remember the wall has to come back over. So we're going to move this over here like this. All right. Under wall hangings. Yep, that's what I thought. Didn't remember that. So let's try going to the right. Maybe we'll get there a little quicker this time. Do-de-do-de-do-de-do. And maybe we won't get there quicker. Oh, here we go. All right, so we have these pictures. We're going to place these like right here, I guess. Again, we can't put them up against the wall. This is why we moved the wall. So we slid the wall back. We're going to put the pictures right here. And on the other side, we're going to place the window. So we'll go up to the Windows drawer, and we don't have to go too far for this one. The Darling Nursery window. Again, that was over here, but since I can't open the window, we're going to move the window off to the side because I still want it. And you'll notice I can't sit it directly on that floor. So we're going to have to actually move the floor here in a moment. But for right now, we'll put this up like that. Okay, and that is it for the interior toys. That's all I need are those 5 things. And so now we can come and select this block underneath, and I'm going to bring this down 1 notch. And we'll bring this floor down. We'll bring this floor down. And now we can bring the window down where it's got to sit, which is at that level. And then we'll bring the floor back up. And we don't have a problem with the bounding box. And we'll bring this piece up, and we'll put the walls back where they need to go. So this wall slides over, and you see it doesn't have a bounding box issue with that window. Bring that one over. We'll put this one back. And we'll put this one back. And that doesn't have a problem with those pictures. And then we can put the ceiling back on. And there we go. There is our bedroom, or the darling room. And I like how that turned out. If we wanted to, we could slide this door over to the left one nudge. Bring Michael's bed over one nudge, and we might be able to fit one of these terrain blocks in the corner back over here, just to make the shape of the room look a little closer to the original room in the Peter Pan movie, but I'm not going to do that because, as you can see from my memory meter, the graphics meter is almost pegged, and my memory meter is a little over 3/4 full, and we still have the logic to do, so I'm not going to do that for mine. I think this actually looks pretty good the way it is. It's not too bad considering that it's not an interior room, and I can't get the shape of everything exactly as I would like, so it's actually pretty good. I like that. I'd like to place a couple of rugs, by the way, but if I had placed the rugs, I think it would have let me place them, but the planks here would have covered it up and you'd have never seen the rug. So this floor block here would do that, so that's why I didn't bother with the rugs. Alright, last thing we need to do is place our pirate ship. And you may remember we had a problem with that last time because I had placed one initially to figure out where the placement was and deleted it. And when I recorded the video and went to put it in there, we had the red bounding box. But now that we've loaded our toy box from scratch, I don't believe the bounding box will be an issue. Once again, we're going to use the pirate ship with cannons. Yep, and this is going to sit right in here, centered with the Crocodile Creek over there. We're going to bring this in to the bay about like that. What's interesting is you can turn the camera and you get the red box. Isn't that wacky? Alright, that takes a big hit on the memory. You saw the meters jump up a little bit, but I think it's worth it because you got to have a pirate ship for Captain Hook here. And that is it for the children's bedroom and the pirate ship, and that means that the build exercise for this toy box is done. At this point, you can save your toy box again, and you'll be all finished. Next time, I'll show you how to implement the logic for Peter Pan's collection quest. Thank you for watching. Before you go, please hit the like button and leave a comment to let me know what you think of this toy box now that the build exercise is done. Also, if you have not subscribed to my channel yet, you can do that by clicking my photo in the lower right corner of this video. That's all for me today. See you next time.